Once upon a time, in the lush green heart of a village called Umuahia, there lived a queen named Adana. She was not born a queen. She was a woman of breathtaking beauty, with skin like polished ebony and eyes that sparkled like the evening stars. She came to Umuahia as a stranger, a traveler who had lost her way. The old king, Izobina, was instantly captivated by her charm and grace. Within a moon, he made her his wife and queen, and the entire village celebrated their union. Queen Adana was loved by all. She was kind, generous, and had a smile that could melt the hardest of hearts. She would often walk through the village market, buying yams and trinkets, talking to the women, and playing with the children. The villagers believed the gods had sent them an angel. But every person has a past, and Queen Adana's was a secret she guarded with her life. Her real name was not Adana, it was Nkechi, and she was not a lost traveler. She came from a distant, forgotten village, a place cursed with a strange affliction. Every firstborn in her family was destined to be born with a mark, a small, dark patch of skin on their left shoulder. This was not just any mark. It was a sign that they carried a restless spirit, one that could bring great misfortune if not appeased. In her old village, people with this mark were feared and often cast out. Nkechi had fled to escape this fate, to build a new life where no one knew her secret. A year after her marriage to King Obina, Queen Adana gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. The village rejoiced. The heir to the throne, Prince Emotiona, was born. He was a healthy, strong baby, the very image of his father. The king was overjoyed, and he threw a feast that lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. But in the quiet of her chambers, Queen Adana's heart was filled with a cold, creeping dread. As she bathed her son for the first time, she saw it. There on his tiny left shoulder was the dark, familiar patch of skin. The curse had followed her. Panic seized her. If the king or the village elders saw the mark, they would ask questions. Her past, her deception, everything would be revealed. She would be disgraced, cast out, and her son's life would be ruined before it even began. Driven by fear, Adana made a decision. She would hide the mark, no matter the cost. She began to use a special mixture of herbs and clay to cover the patch on Emotiona's shoulder. It was a secret ritual she performed every single day, her hands trembling as she applied the paste. As Emotiona grew, she always made sure he wore clothes that covered his shoulders, even on the hottest days. The young prince, a lively and curious boy, often questioned this. "Mama, why can't I swim in the river with the other boys without my shirt?" he would ask. Adana would always find an excuse. "The sun is too harsh for your skin, my dear, or a prince must always be properly dressed." Emotiona, loving and trusting his mother, never disobeyed. He grew up feeling a little different, a little separate from the other children, but he never knew why. Years passed. King Obina grew old and frail, and the responsibilities of the kingdom fell upon the young Prince Emotiona. He was now a handsome and capable young man, respected for his wisdom and strength. He was a skilled hunter and a fair leader, and the people of Umuahia adored him. He was betrothed to a beautiful maiden named Chimaka, the daughter of the village's chief warrior. Their wedding was to be the biggest event the village had seen in years. But as the day approached, Queen Adana's anxiety grew. The wedding rituals required the prince to undergo a series of traditional rites, some of which involved being bare-chested in front of the village elders. The secret she had kept for 2 decades was on the verge of being exposed. Meanwhile, a young hunter named Emika had started noticing the queen's strange behavior. Emika was a quiet, observant man, and he was secretly in love with Chimaka. He had noticed the queen's constant fussing over the prince's clothing and her visible nervousness whenever the prince was near the river. One evening, hiding in the bushes near the rural stream, he saw the queen secretly applying the clay mixture to the prince's shoulder. His curiosity piqued, Emika decided to investigate. He journeyed to the neighboring villages, asking questions about a woman who matched the queen's description from 20 years ago. After weeks of searching, he found an old woman in a remote village who recognized his description. The old woman told him the story of Nkechi and the family curse of the marked firstborns. The pieces de fairness clicked into place for Emika. He was torn. He could expose the queen, ruin her, and perhaps stop the wedding. which would free Chimaka. But he also saw the pain and fear that had driven the queen. He saw a mother trying to protect her son. He decided to confront the queen directly. He found her alone in the royal gardens, her face etched with worry. "Your Majesty," Emika began softly, "I know your secret. I know about the mark, and I know your name is Nkechi." Queen Adana froze, her blood turning to ice. Her world was crumbling. Tears streamed down her face as she collapsed, her carefully constructed life shattering around her. She confessed everything to Emika, her voice choked with sobs of fear and regret. She explained that she never meant to deceive anyone, only to give her son a chance at a normal life. Emika listened patiently. He saw not a deceitful queen, but a terrified mother. His heart, which had been filled with jealousy, was now filled with compassion. "The truth has a way of coming out, Your Majesty," he said gently. "It is better for it to come from you. The people of Umuahia love you and your son. Your secret does not change who you are or the good you have done." His words were a balm to her wounded soul. For the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope. That night, she made the bravest decision of her life. She went to her husband, the old and ailing King Obina, and confessed everything. She then called her son, Prince Emotiona, and showed him the mark, explaining the story of her past and her family. The next day, Queen Adana stood before the entire village in the central square. With her head held high, she told them her story. She told them her real name, her origins, and the secret she had hidden for so long. A hush fell over the crowd. People whispered, some looked shocked, others angry. The chief priest stepped forward, his face grim. "Deception is a great crime against the gods in this land," he declared. Just as the crowd began to murmur in agreement, Prince Emotiona stepped forward and stood beside his mother. He removed his royal robes, baring his shoulder for all to see. "This mark does not define me," he said, his voice ringing with power and conviction. "My mother's love. This mark doesn't define who I am. Her courage inspires me. I am Emotiona, son of Adana, and I am proud to be her son. Is there any man here who has never acted out of fear or love for his family?" His words silenced the crowd. They looked at the brave young prince and his trembling mother, and they saw not a curse, but the unbreakable bond of family. They remembered the queen's kindness, her generosity, and her years of service. They saw a woman who had made a mistake out of love. King Obina, supported by his guards, also spoke. "She has been a better queen than I could have ever hoped for. Her love for our son is proof of her good heart. She is my wife, and she is your queen." The tide of public opinion turned. Cheers erupted from the crowd. They chose love and forgiveness over fear and superstition. Emika, watching from the crowd, smiled. He had lost his chance with Chimaka, but he had helped save a kingdom. The wedding went on as planned, and it was a celebration not just of a marriage, but of truth, forgiveness, and the power of a mother's love. Queen Adana, no longer living in fear, ruled with her son for many years, her wisdom deepened by the secret she once carried. And the story of the queen's secret became a lesson for generations to come, a reminder that we are all more than our pasts, and that true strength lies in facing our fears with courage and love. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and tell us your favorite part in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another one of our stories.